Back in January, UserTesting acquired User Interviews, and the first integration following that acquisition is ready to go inside of UserTesting in the form of advanced targeting. So we all know that sometimes we're trying to find a niche person, a hard to reach audience, and it can be a little bit of a challenge. There's only so many options that we can select before we have to start writing a laundry list of screener questions. Well, with the User Interviews advanced targeting right inside of UserTesting, you're going to see that those days are over. UserTesting now has as many as 40 new criteria that you can choose from to pre-filter your audiences before they even start answering screener questions. Let me show you how it works. So here I am inside of the UserTesting dashboard. I've clicked on the Create Test button, and we are going to create a new Think Out Loud experience test. This works exactly the same for interaction test or for survey, but we're going to go ahead and we're just going to say New Think Out Loud test. You can see here, again, if you haven't explored the new Think Out Loud experience, I highly recommend that you try it out. There's amazing new features and capabilities that are embedded here. I'm going to say create a test, and we're just going to name this UI integration demo. And we're going to just say, yep, it's going to be on a computer and it's English. Great. Create that test. Now you can see we're in our test builder by default, but right now we're going to focus on audiences. So we go over to audiences, and we're going to do an untitled audience, and I know underneath my screen here it says new audience. So we're going to say right here, user testing audience. We're going to create with user testing. You can see here that it's telling me my plan includes advanced targeting with custom incentives. I didn't even tell you that in the pitch, in the lead, in the tease. You can now set custom incentives for these new advanced audience groups. But let me just show you that when we get to it. So we're going to go ahead here, and it's going to take us into our new audience. So I'm going to scroll right down. I'm going to skip past the number of participants, all that. Let's get to the targeting criteria. So here in the targeting criteria, you will notice that UserTesting has changed the way this is displayed. Right up front, you're just seeing the 3 most common elements that are chosen by people when they typically recruit. So almost always people pick the country. We're going to pick United States. I'm just going to leave the genders and the ages the same. I don't really need to do those. But where we will find this additional criteria is going to be here where it says add criteria. This is where you're going to have the option to choose between standard targeting and advanced targeting. So this is I'm going to just move myself out of the way for a second here. Let's drag me down to the bottom. So I'll put myself back at the top in a minute. So up here, you can see that you have standard criteria and advanced criteria. Standard criteria target participants from the general population. Incentives are covered by user testing. This is what you might typically be used to, where user testing handles all the incentives. You don't need to think about anything. It's just standard out of the box. Then you have advanced criteria. This is targeting niche or hard to reach participants. You, as the tester, as the researcher, as the designer that's running a test, you set the incentive, and it's covered by a prepaid balance. That's a separate prepaid balance that you will manage. That is where you will pull these extra incentives from. User testing will pay it out, but you fund it on your own. So first, let's take a look at the standard criteria here without me moving from the corner. So we've got personal, technical, and professional. These are all things that we'd be familiar with from the interaction test and survey and the new Think Out Loud experience previously. So you have your personal stuff, region, language, household income, household investable assets, savings, investment accounts, parental status. And you can see, again, has children, no children, again, savings, investment accounts, types of accounts you have, etc. Then you have your technical information, and this is things like social network, mobile carrier that you might use, and then professional, again, the basics, employment, industry, job level, company size, and job department. But let's just say this is not enough. You need to go granular. So we are going to now select advanced criteria, and I'm going to show you all of the new opportunities you will have to find those hard to reach niche participants quickly. Okay, I've moved myself back up to the top while we go through advanced criteria. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that there is a new option here, a new primary category called products and services. Now we're going to get to that, but let's start with personal. Now you're going to see there are a lot more options. Again, you know what's underneath me, so watch this. Personal, look at those options. Now look at all the new options here. Personal. So we've got children. Now we have a lot more options, just no children, trying to conceive, pregnant, lots of different categories. We have disabilities. So if you're testing for accessibility requirements, there are a lot more capabilities here that you can select. Not just English language, but English language proficiency, health insurance types, homeowner, household income, level of education, living situation. Like, look at this. Living with roommates, live with a significant other, live with a husband or wife. These are new options that are very, very particular targeting criteria, like someone who lives alone versus someone who lives with roommates. It might be something very specific that you want to actually target. So let's scroll down here. We have like many, many more. Marital status, neighborhood type. I love this one. Urban versus suburban versus rural versus other. So a lot of times if you're just targeting people who live in cities versus people who live in the suburbs, you can use this. Other languages spoken fluently, pets owned, a lot of primary pet categories, race, ethnicity is here, and region. Then we're going to move on to professional. And I'm going to scroll back up. You can see things, again, company size, employment status, but now gig or contract opportunities. If you want to find DoorDash drivers or someone who works for a food delivery service, you might pick Instacart, DoorDash, Postmates, Grubhub, and Uber. Uber, you can pick all of those. So if you want to find just Etsy artists, it's here. Then you have your industries, military service status, occupation groups, seniority, small business owners. If you're specifically targeting these B2B audiences, this advanced targeting is going to be the solution to finding the niche B2B audiences that you want very, very quickly. So small business owner, yes, no. Type of income. You've got all these things. Work setting. Hey, I just want to target remote workers because I'm curious what they do during the day and finding out, how much time they spend this, that, or the other versus someone who's in person in the office. So you have all these great options here. Products and services. I'll take you through these now. Digital design prototyping tools. This is super important in a lot of spaces today. What tools you're using. Food delivery, health and wellness apps, online banking and financial tools. A lot of companies in the financial services industry may want to see, hey, what tools are you looking at? Why are people using one tool versus another? Online learning education platforms, marketplace platforms, streaming services, travel booking services. As we all know, like I used to work for Hertz for a long time. And so this kind of information, if I was still working at Hertz and a customer of UserTesting, I would want to say, hey, I just want to see people who are booking through these travel intermediaries, people who are booking on these online travel agencies, essentially, as opposed to booking directly with the brands, hotels, airlines, etc. Why are they booking here? Productivity software, smart home and gaming devices, social networking platforms, traditional banks, and vehicles currently owned or leased. I mean, you can literally get down to the type of car someone has, and you can target them just if you're looking for someone who's got that Dodge Hemi, you can pick right here that I own a Dodge, and I go there. So now the last one, I'm going to go through the last one, technical, and then I'm going to show you to put it all together to truly find someone that you're looking for in that niche space. So technical, assistive technologies and custom settings. Again, going back to the use case of testing for accessibility factors in a website or experience or mobile app. Here you've got a lot of different categories of assistive technologies, browsers, computer operating systems, computer with a webcam, smartphone operating system, tablet operating system. So we've got a number of choices here as well. So putting all this together is pretty easy. So let's just say, let's come up with something here. Let's say we're looking for, a city-based interior designer. So let's keep it on the threadline theme that I use a lot. So let's say we're looking for that. So first, I'm just going to move myself a little bit higher, just so we can see this, that you have the ability to search through all of the criteria. So as an example, I'm going to say occupation, and here we go. So we've got professional, and then we've got gig or contract occupations and occupation groups. We've got that there. So now that I've showed you that I can search for any of the criteria, I'm just going to drill down and show you how I can build it, because I want people to get used to seeing what is available here. So let's go to professional, and my employment status is I'm full-time employed, and I'm going to say I'm an interior designer, so it's not really gig or contract occupations. I'm going to say, let's say industry, maybe it's like architecture and planning. It's kind of like planning, maybe. Maybe that'll work. I'll just leave it as that. I'm going to come down and say occupation groups. Now, I'm looking for interior designer, so I'm just going to be safe, I'm going to type the word design and see what comes up. So there we go. Look at this. I put in design, and look at all of the different types of designer that has come up. CAD designer, electrical designer, graphic designer, industrial designer, interior designer. That's what I was looking for. Multimedia designer, a bunch of other choices. We're going to leave it as that. And then you recall I did say we wanted city-based interior designers. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say personal. And there was an option for neighborhood type. And I'm going to say urban. So I've got urban-based interior designers. Let's just go back in and add professional and small business owner. Yes. Okay. So now we have 5 criteria that we have selected. Now down below, you can see I do have the option to start adding screener questions. This is the normal screener questions that you would typically be accustomed to writing. But the key is the only people that are going to see these screener questions, and an example of a screener question might be something like, please note all of the types of places that you have managed interior design for. And it might be office spaces, studios, multi-bedrooms, penthouse, brownstones, all kinds of office lobbies, all kinds of things like that. So you put those in your screener questions. But the thing is that only the people that match these criteria, all of these criteria, will actually see the screener questions. So the success rate for people that actually get to your screener questions is going to be much higher. If you're not using the advanced targeting, you'll have to put most of these things into screener questions. And so the general population will be seeing, do you live in a city or do you live in the suburbs? Obviously, a lot more people across whatever country you might be picking live outside of the city. They live in a suburban area, typically. So, I think that's true. Don't quote me on that. But they're going to have to answer that question, and a lot of them will be wrong. So all these questions are now pre-screened, and only the people that match this criteria, matched in advance, will be sent your screener questions, your invitation. So if they respond, then they're going to come through. Now, you'll see on the right side that it says here that there is a cost per participant of $25. Now, don't worry about the rest of this stuff because this is just a demo area. But normally, you will see that for each person, and I believe we have 10 in this group. Yeah, so 10 people. So it would say right here, there would be a little incentive processing fee, and then there would be $250, and then your outstanding balance would be shown right here. So because this is a demo area, there's nothing there, so just don't worry about that. But this is where it would all appear. As I scroll down, you are going to see that you now have the option to change that incentive. What does this look like? If you are used to standard recruiting, standard targeting in user testing, you know that with the standard incentives, it's all the same. Everyone gets paid the same for completing a test. Whether if they're doing an unmoderated thing out loud, everyone gets paid the same. If they're doing a live conversation, everyone gets paid the same. A survey, everyone gets paid the same. Well, now, because you may be targeting very hard to find people, you can set the incentives. One of the most common questions that I would get in the past might be someone talking to me and saying, Mike, why would somebody that's such a high profile, a chief financial officer, as an example, be taking tests for $10? Now, there is a good reason why they might be, but now they are going to see, everyone is going to see in their list of available studies that there is a test that has a higher incentive. So I can change this now to $75. And you can see it updated over here. All these other numbers would have updated. But very, very simple to see that there's a custom incentive. You've got your summary over here of what's going on. You've got your criteria summarized. Screener questions will be here, etc. And if you need help setting that incentive, deciding how much should we be offering, you can always click this option here, how to choose an incentive. And here you can see we've got this great breakdown in the knowledge base of user testing that is actually showing you, based on the test type and the actual length of time that you believe the test will take, it is giving you a baseline recommended custom incentive for use. So again, just in this case, let's say we're going for a B2B audience. It's an unmoderated test. So basically $1.50 per minute. So if we're talking about 20 minutes, I believe that's $30 is what we should be offering. But of course, the more niche the audience might be, the harder to find, the faster you need the feedback, the higher the incentive you may choose to set. And every time you launch a test using advanced targeting, there is a team of dedicated people behind the scenes making sure that those specific tests fill as quickly as possible, because user testing knows that those are going after niche, hard to reach participants. That's going to be it for now. I hope a lot of you start investigating adding advanced targeting to your accounts at UserTesting. If you want to know more, just go into the platform, try to build an audience. It'll tell you if it's locked or if it's not. It'll give you some instructions, but just reach out to your account teams and they will show you and tell you how to get it. That's going to be it for now, but don't worry, I'll be back again in 7 days. Until then, I will see you later.